Hi, welcome to Trostle Talk. I am Michelle Trostle. This is episode 22, Reconsidering Time Allocations. When we think about how we spend our instructional day, especially with our youngest readers, it's important to ground our thinking, and the reading rope can help us do just that. We need to make sure that we have time in our day to focus on all of the strands of the reading rope, both the word recognition and the language comprehension. So, how do we think about that? Well, when I think about the rope, I think first we need to help students unlock the code. That covers the phonological awareness and the decoding encoding strands. So, we're helping students to see those phoneme grapheme connections, being able to pull the words off the page. But just pulling the words off the page isn't enough. We need to help our students apply the code. When we apply the code, we're giving students lots of opportunities to read connected text. That helps that sight recognition strand, not sight words like I used to think of them when I had a word wall in my first grade classroom, but words that are now stored in our long-term memory that we can read as if by sight. And then we need time for comprehension and application of all of those language comprehension portions of the rope. Now, I'm going to show you some pie charts here with some possible allocations of time during your day. Please don't take these as rules that you need to follow, but as simply as guidelines to help you think about the different purposes for different parts of your day. So in our district, we have a time of the day that we call core. The focus in this core time is really going to be comprehension. We're going to be doing a lot of reading by the teacher that is beyond the ability of the students, but we really need to give students access to that higher level vocabulary, exciting content for them to think about. There may be some unlocking the code when we think about helping students to read particular content words. There may be some applying the code with some shared reading opportunities, but our primary focus is going to be on comprehension. Then we have our time of the day that we're really focused on unlocking the code. We use Foundations as our core program. However, even when our focus is unlocking the code, we still need to take time to apply the code to connected text, to give students many opportunities to get those words going through their eyes into their brains so they can transfer to that long-term memory. And anytime we're reading connected text, we need to think about what that text means. So we may not have very exciting text during our unlocking the code focus time, but we still need to talk about what those sentences and paragraphs mean. And then we get to our flex time. This would traditionally have been called guided reading time or small group time. This is an opportunity for teachers to meet with students and teach them what's next for them on that scope and sequence of learning. So we're going to spend some time unlocking the code, helping students to be familiarized and bring to the forefront of their brain the skills that they might need for their text for the day. But then our main focus is on applying the code. How do I read those words, transfer them into my long-term memory? How do I begin to read as if by sight? So I'm reading very quickly. I'm able to add in more of that expression when I read. And then, of course, anytime we're reading connected text, we need to be to spend time thinking about what that text means. Since we're doing more reading during flex, we're going to have more time focused on that comprehension. But this is still a little vague. So let's make it a little more concrete. When we think about what we can do during flex, the actual instructional activities, I made a list here of some great places to start. So when we're unlocking the code, we might do things like mini lessons or phonological or phonemic practice, maybe using the Kilpatrick drills. There's this great activity called Tap It, Map It, Graph It, Write It that helps students to hear the phonemes and then directly apply those to the grapheme. So students are making that connection instantly. Applying the code might be looking at Wiley-Blevin's practice lines or blending lines. We may be in decodable text or some stretch text, depending on our students. And then we think about comprehension. I made a list here of the 8 comprehension strategies that are recommended by the National Reading Panel. And then I added 2 more, sentence expansion and because but so. There's something you can sort of sink your teeth into right away. All right, so there we go. A quick rethinking of how we use our instructional time, making sure that in every lesson we're giving students opportunities to unlock the code, apply the code, and comprehend, knowing that we're going to use those in different proportions depending on the purpose of our instructional time. Let's continue the conversation. You can find me on Twitter at Trostle Michelle.